But before we do the reactions, I got a few people talking about trailers being spoilery and probably shouldn't watch some trailers and things like that. And so I just wanted to point out that when I watch a trailer, sometimes things might appear spoilery if you've played the game before or you know the story or something like that. And so from your eyes, it may look really obvious that it's a spoiler, but I might not notice it and I might just skim past it and not see anything. I would not see the forest for the trees, whereas you will see every single individual tree. You'll be like, that's a pine tree, that's a this tree, that's a, ghost gum tree, whatever. And so if something like that happens and something is a potential spoiler, don't bring attention to it by mentioning that it's a spoiler. Because then my attention is going to go to it. I'm going to start thinking about it. And when I start thinking about something, my imagination runs wild. And then I might actually get spoiled, right? But like if I skim over something, don't notice anything, and it's potentially a spoiler, just because I probably didn't notice it. That's probably for the best. Let it play out when I play the game. Let me get surprised and let everything that comes with it, happen, because it's gonna happen in its own time. So you don't need to force it. So please don't bring any unnecessary attention to spoilers, because anything can be a spoiler out of context, even movie trailers, game trailers, and everything. How about you turn your brain off, Kuma? I do it all the time when I get my math homework. I don't like my math homework, but I do have one very good example of this. I remember we were playing Persona 5, and everyone was like, pancakes, 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 pancakes. And I'm like, what are these weirdos talking about? You weird mother, what is wrong with you people? I like pancakes, but you have an unhealthy obsession with pancakes. You're probably all clinically obese and dying of diabetes. And everyone was just like, pancakes. And I'm talking about 100 people, right? I'm not one or two, 100 people in the chat. I was like, this is the weirdest crap ever, And then we were playing, and then a character comes up and he mentions pancakes. I'm like, oh, you weirdos. That's one of the first things he says. So you're talking about a character and pancakes. I'm like, yeah, cool story, bro. Have a good day with that. And thankfully it stopped there. And thankfully the mods deleted the messages of anyone pointing out that it's a potential spoiler. Because had I read those messages at that time, I would have started being like, pancakes is a spoiler? What could pancakes possibly mean? What does pancakes in this context possibly mean? It could, be a spoiler. Then I would start thinking. Then we'd have a big problem. But thankfully, I just went you're all a bunch of weirdos that love pancakes, I just wrote it off. And thankfully, nothing happened. So, please, do not bring attention to these things. Speaking of, we'll watch the Persona 3 Reload trailer. The previous trailer I recorded, as you know, a week ago. It took 5 days to get it on YouTube because they were having a lot of fun in that trailer. I know it hits very differently in Japan to America because, in Japan, you can't just go to a supermarket and buy one. Whereas in America, you can go to a supermarket and buy one. And you could probably find one, in your uncle's drawer or something. So it hits very different when you have people in high school, okay, YouTube, fair enough. But, it took him a week, to approve the trailer. It's kind of ridiculous. So hopefully we don't have that problem with this one. So the Persona 3 new trailer that I think came out, yesterday. So I'll check it out. Again, I don't have story context. I've just seen the trailers so far. You don't need to explain the significance of every single element of the trailer. Let me just enjoy it. That's half the fun. Working out and exploring it for what it is. If everything's pointed out and explained to me, it's kind of like reading a synopsis to a movie before going to watch the movie. You kind of know a lot of the things already. Let's not do that. Let's just enjoy it fresh. That's the way to do it.
They took down that shadow during the last full moon like it was nothing.
I have no intention of relinquishing my abilities and living an empty life.
That's a lot of blood.
Well, Jin, Are they our enemy?
What? 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 Wow, okay. Topless, jeans, tattoos. I mean, he's got something in his hand, but like, first thought is you look like a hippie, but you must be a bad guy or something. Okay. Free love, baby! I mean, maybe this has absolutely nothing to do with personas. This could just be a homeless person that's addicted to something. You see, that goes with my standing theory that Morgana is a dealer. He's got a little bum bag. He gives kids stuff and they put it under their tongue and like 30 minutes later they're in the metaverse. It's all a crazy trip,
There's
man.
a new threat. Persona users just like us.
They called themselves Strega.
Spragger.
Somebody's got a grudge against you.
And they're all vampires. They're all in coffins. I love it.
They asked us to get revenge.
Oh, he's got a full-blown revolver. I thought he just had a little pea shooter.
No! Stay away!
Oh, wow. So you've got this girl that's wearing all white. That is brave. That is brave. That is so easy to get dirty. But okay, very gothic. I like you got the sword through the head. You're ready for Halloween. And then we've got... I don't know.
Get away from me!
You guys don't have the slightest clue what'll happen if the Dark Hour disappears. Do you?
What do you mean?
Do you really want to lose your abilities?
This is the only thing I can do. And yet... Is your mission worth your life?
I just talk a big game, pretending like I'm some kind of hero. That's about all I've got going for me. Without this power, I'd be a nobody.
Dagaya?
I'm sorry, but I'm like half expecting this to be the Hidden Rain Village because look at that building in the background. But okay.
Dagaya?
To all customers, please do not move in the opposite direction of the escalators.
I'm
You call it an escalator, I call it a workout machine.
Gonna make pancakes.
Of course! Wouldn't be Persona without pancakes.
Pancake party time, as they say.
It's kind of funny that we're talking about pancakes before this damn trailer.
We don't have much time left.
If the Dark Hour disappears, we might forget everything that happened, won't we? I'd forget you and Chidori, things we did together, all of
Her name's Chidori? Okay.
it. To me, that's a fate worse than death.
Freeze!
Had you not decided to eliminate the Dark Hour, we wouldn't have had a reason to interfere.
I guess I was wrong. For the first time in my life, I realized what I wanted.
Some things you only pick up stepping off the straight and narrow.
Fate shall decide which of us will remain. Come then.
So we actually have an antagonist now, sort of.
Velvet, oh velvet, my master has a long nose. All together now. Velvet, oh velvet, my master has a long nose.
You know, I quite like a comment someone had. They were like, we want to release a remake of a game, but everyone's going to be pissed off with the price. And then some guy in the meeting room is like, I've got an idea. 69.9. Oh, right.
Master has a long nose.
Okay, so they're going to have a BGM set, of course. So what's this? A special edition that includes the base game, art book, soundtrack, and all DLC. Is that like all DLC forever, or just all DLC available at launch? A luxurious set that includes not only the base game of Persona 3 digital, but also an art book and soundtrack digital apps. How's that different from... What? Digital Premium Deluxe kind of sounds like they have the same thing, but just no DLC. Okay, so this one's like the premium. Okay. And then you've just got the standard. Okay. Am I the only one thinking what the F we just watched? That is pretty much everyone's initial reaction to Persona, including my own. It is just one of those things where you just think, what the F am I watching? What is this? Why is the cat talking? Why is the cat telling me to go to bed? Why am I getting sent to prison and beat with a cane by two underage 1,000-year-old dragons that probably have penises? Like, what is going on? And then eventually, after 100 hours of just being belittled and emotionally and physically abused by these two little monsters, you start getting praise, and it feels weird. Almost like you've accepted that you're not worth anything. It is a weird experience. It is really a weird experience. That's all I've got to say. So your reaction is absolutely normal. 100%. But, you know, like, silver lining, you'll get some good music. Why is the cat giving me a bag of sugar and 19th century Coca-Cola? The original Coca-Cola recipe? When I hear that a game launches with DLCs, I just assumes the dev released an incomplete game and want to make you pay for the full experience. Well, basically, yeah, that's the same thing that I get. It's like, we've created this whole game, but we're going to reduce the amount of costumes and things you can unlock by playing the game. You know how back in the day when you used to play a game on PlayStation 2 and you would beat the game under certain conditions, you would unlock a costume? I'm looking at you, Devil May Cry 3, or like Devil May Cry 1, or Devil May Cry 2, or Devil May Cry anything, or even Metal Gear Solid. Well, nowadays, screw that. Pay for it. And if you're struggling with the game, don't worry about replaying a level or grinding or anything. Pay for it. We'll give you like 20,000 orbs for $4.99 or something. Or you'll increase your health for $4.99 instead of having to do a challenge mission. You can just pay for it with your credit card. And yeah, I get the same feeling too. And that's kind of why I ask immediately, is it DLC at launch or is it DLC, you know, for the whole game's lifespan? Because if it's like a story DLC or extra content DLC that's going to be created, you know, in the future and added to the game and is going to go on top of the base game and give you more gameplay and all this sort of stuff, it's like, okay. But if it's just like skins and whatnot that are already in the game that are just locked behind DLC, I kind of go, really? That's $30? Are you serious? Thank you, Shadow. Thank you for resubbing, kind sir. Imagine Dark Souls capping your level at 40 unless you pay $14.99 for level 60 DLC. See, this is what get me. If this is the real thing that gets me with DLC. If it's cosmetic that's added on top of the game, like if they go out of their way to create things and add them in the game that are not already in there or part of the story or anything like that, it's like, okay, it's cosmetic, it's extra, like, enjoy yourself, I don't care. But if it's in the game or it in some way makes it easier, you know, or the game is just more difficult for the sake of being more difficult to entice you to pay for a DLC to make your life easier, I think that's wrong. I think that's wrong. And it's even worse when it's like, you know, PvP. So if you have like online PvP and you can eventually pay to win, it's bad.